Hey guys, this is Matt for Creative. We are filming now in the HDR video mode that was just released for the Osmo Pocket 2. It seems like the max recording is going to be 2.7K at 30 frames per second, and it does punch in a lot. So right now I do have the extra little wide angle adapter. So originally it goes from 20 millimeters, I think, down to 16 or 14. But you can see I'm already holding this at arm's length away. It should be much more around me. But I'm going to flip this camera around. We're going to do a little walk to see how the HDR does. So already what I'm seeing in the viewfinder here is this. It just looks different. Normally when you film on the original Pocket Osmo, it's going to be more like a traditional mirrorless or DSLR camera, not with a lot of HDR. The newer Pocket 2 has kind of enhanced that already, so you can see that there's a little bit more high dynamic range. And again, some people like that, some people don't. I love the original Osmo Pocket because it was just, it basically looked like a DSLR or mirrorless camera. And now kind of adding HDR, for some reason, it just, in my mind, it feels like an iPhone or any kind of new, smartphone camera that has HDR quality. And sometimes that may not be what you want. But we're going to see exactly what happens here. Again, on the camera that I use normally, the Canon M6 Mark II, that does have an HDR mode, but if you use it, there's absolutely no digital stabilization, and I don't think it crops in, but it just can't be stabilized. But this, because it's on a 3-axis gimbal, even while cropping in, you're going to be able to have that stabilization. So this being my favorite camera, and then getting this brand new firmware announced here, maybe this is going to make things better. Again, you may not be a fan of the HDR look, but for functionality, you're going to get a lot more dynamic range in the lights and the lows when you do some filming. So as you can see over here, we have a lot of shadow, and then on this side we have a very bright image. That is Cat's Deli over there, an iconic restaurant here in Manhattan in the Lower East Side. By the way, I do not have the little wireless mic. This is purely just on the camera and the mics. I think the 4 different microphones that are on the camera. I wanted to make sure that you could hear the city as well. And one more thing, there's normally a zoom feature now on the new Pocket 2 that has been disabled when you're on HDR mode. So even though I have a little apparatus that could actually do it, I can't actually use it. So we're going from the shadow to a very bright area. And again, by the way, the only 2 resolutions that we can get are 1080p at 30 frames per second, and I believe 24 frames per second, and 2.7K at 30 frames per second. 60 frames per second is not available on HDR mode. But again, already I can see that there is a visual difference when I'm looking through the tiny little viewfinder that we have here. Let's look at some sun. And again, I'm walking normally. I'm not walking carefully to see if there's any difference in the stabilization. So we'll see exactly how this looks.